To set up for the banded trap bar split squat, attach a light band to the trap bar. Begin in a squat stance, feet hip distance and core braced. $100 bills locked in your armpits. Stand up and put some tension on the band. Your feet are going to be on railroad tracks, so step back with one foot, brace your core, lock the lats, and bend both knees until your rear knee is hovering. Stand up using your glutes. Activation should be felt in both glutes, down the posterior chain with a strong grip. You should feel pressure through the whole front foot, especially into the heel. We're aiming for a straight line at the top of the head to the rear heel. If you lose balance, reset and continue. Start light to master the form. As you can tell, my left leg forward, my form is not as good as the when my right leg is forward. This is something I can work on. And there, reset. Set back up. Perfect. Straight up, straight down, glute squeeze. If you find that the tension pulling you forward by the band on your arms, making you use your shoulders and your upper back a little bit more is too much, or you don't have access to a trap bar, you can do a dumbbell version, bringing a light band around your hips. It's the same setup as the band is pulling you forward, but it's a little bit easier because you have less activation in the upper body. This is easier for beginners, so progress to the band around your wrists or your trap bar. You can see that I'm using the mirror to my right to help make sure that from the top of my head down to my knee is one straight line. In my first video, I have too much of a forward lean, which is going to make it harder for full activation. Proper setup and finish of the exercise helps protect from injuries as well. Some split squat considerations. Start with your feet hip distance apart. Imagine that you're standing on railroad tracks. So when you step 1 foot back, that foot is still hip distance apart. What we're looking for is your front knee at 90 degrees and your back knee at 90 degrees, chest tall, and your glutes are firing to help you stand. So notice that my knee stays in line with my right heel, opposed to coming inwards. I'm doing this by using my glutes and the tension across the floor. Avoid a hip shift to the front leg side. Keeping your core braced, you should be able to wiggle your toes. And you're going to go straight up, straight down. So both hips are parallel towards the camera at all times. From the side, you can see that my heel is under my knee. My knees are at 90, and there's a long line from my head to my rear knee. This is a great exercise for stretching the toes in the rear foot if done without shoes. Notice that there's a long line from the top of my head to my rear foot, and I'm squeezing both glutes at the top. So what we don't want to see is your knee tracking too far over your toe. You want to be able to go straight up, straight down, and pressing into that front heel. Here we go, bird dog banded dumbbell row. Set up in a one arm bent over row position. Back flat, leg on the floor, the foot is strong, and then reach your right leg, in this case my right leg, back, and we're trying to keep both hips and both shoulders square to the ground. So you need to find a bench that's going to help you do that. From there, my right shoulder is over top of the crease of my right wrist, and I'm staying strong through the core. The band is easier to put around your wrist, but you can attach it to the dumbbell. So we're looking for glute activation, core activation, and a strong foot on the ground. Row comes up into your armpit, and you're not bringing your arms so high up that your body twists over to the side. So back is nice and flat. We're one long line from the top of the head down to my heel. An alternative brings your supportive hand a little bit lower, so easier to keep your back flat, and you can have a bit more of a bend in your supportive leg and your rear leg. So you can add as much bend as you need, bend into the knee as you need. Some considerations with the bird dog. We don't want to have our spine too flexed or too extended. We want to find neutral and our belly button into our spine and our sternum lifted. My knees are hip distance apart and my hands are underneath my wrists. Beginners can start with one leg extending back with a flexed foot toe to shin and reaching your other arm straight forward. You can hold this position or you can move in and out, trying to keep your back and shoulders flat. So some things that people have a hard time with is eliminating the amount of movement that they get in the spine and the hips and the shoulders. So this is a stability exercise that's meant to be done nice and slow. So keep those knees hip distance and your shoulders over your wrists, strong core.